Yesterday I was talking to my partner and I mentioned to him how I was feeling, which is something I should have shared with you guys. Given the fact that I feel like I've been feeling a bit like this as of recently. Perhaps it's because I have so much that I have to focus at this very moment in time outside of YouTube. And perhaps it almost feels like this is an added responsibility burden in many ways. And I have also mentioned that I don't have other social media platforms, and I find that part of the reason not only is social media known to often be addictive, but it also takes away from one's time to dedicate to themselves, dedicate to their lives. And in many ways, YouTube has kind of become a bit like my job, right? It's become something that I do, that I have to keep an eye on. And as someone that is still more than anything interested in the workforce, like the workforce, somewhere I go to, somewhere I can build myself, especially within the area that I studied in. And that's where my heart is at this time. It's hard to say, oh man, I could juggle both of these things, or I can juggle what I'm currently doing. And with YouTube being a responsibility, I feel like part of that responsibility is rolling out content, right, to the subscribers, those of you that are viewing. So it's a difficult place to be in. I created this channel with the intent to speak on something that has been spoken about, perhaps in privacy, perhaps in in the subreddit that I've followed, where there's only black and brown individual or people that identify as people of color, right? Speaking on their experience, on experiencing harassment, experiencing policing, experiencing racism, and much more from the white community, right? And uh, I find that within our communities, there's uh, been this expectation or standard, right, that we've been held to, where we cannot or should not be like them, and by that it's it's pointing fingers, right, or blatantly saying something that, well, we've experienced, right? It has been a reality, has been an experience for us in terms of dealing with racism from the white community. And it's it's always been it's always been how would I say, not only is it naturally hypocritical, but it's insane to see how the white community can so freely do these things, harass and make our communities uncomfortable, unsafe, right? And have no consequences and be held and not be held accountable for these behaviors. But there still seems to be no standard for them in terms of, oh, it is what it is, this is the reality of it. It almost seems like there's a level of complacency, and this is not only from the white community, as they naturally would benefit from that level of complacency from communities of color, but also communities of color, where it's just like, we have to be the better and bigger person. And it's saddening, given the fact that how much how much destruction they've caused within our peoples, right? People, right? How much they've taken from our communities and people. And I feel like part of this YouTube is to say no more, right? To keep and continue to keep the white community accountable, continue to speak on the evil doing that has not only been happening here at this time now, but has been happening historically. And we continue to see, and it's interesting that the mask is slipping to a greater degree as we see all these things happening, and continue to exist. And we see so much chaos, not only happening here in the US, but on a global scale, where things are very much so pronounced in terms of the racism, colonization that exists and that has always been there, but people have not taken the time. Perhaps the information was not there. Perhaps our communities have not been as confident to speak on, and now it has become, it's almost as if that time has come, right? Where yes, these like mentions of racism from the white community has been a historic issue, a historic reoccurrence, but it's as if things are not looking well in this time around for the US, right? So I do find that much of my inspiration came from, okay, I know that it's a very difficult position for many people to put themselves in terms of people of color, to put themselves in the public eye, right? To speak on this, because a lot of people, even within our own communities, will not agree, right? But it's also time to reflect and say and ask ourselves, why can't we rattle a couple of things? Why can't we rock the boat, right? Why can't we create an uncomfortable? Because in order to grow, you need to be uncomfortable. So to me, it's interesting how we've been okay with allowing people to colonize, to kill. I can't say that word here. You know what I'm saying? Ill our people, and so freely too. And it's something that we continue to allow if we don't speak on, if we don't tackle. So yeah, that's why I even began this channel. But once again, it comes with great responsibility to maintain the content, to bring out that content to you guys. And I feel like there is quite a bit of burdens, right? When it concerns that, okay, now I have to think about content. Now I have to make sure I'm bringing that content out to you guys. I also have to put myself out there when I don't even have other social media platforms. So it's very tricky, because it's like, am I keen on social media? Am I keen on, being out here publicly in terms of being seen publicly, when I prefer a more quiet, private life in many, to a great extent, a great degree. Like, I am more on the introverted side. I do like to socialize, but it's just like I do need to recharge. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a conflict within me happening, and it's yeah. So I guess that's where I'm at, but I'm not sure I'm crying, but I guess it's because I'm thankful for all of you that have naturally understood the message, have received the message, and hopefully it's something that has enlightened and not burdened you. I think that's important for me too. It's like, okay, my mission ultimately, this is something I also shared with my partner, is like, my mission is, and it's specifically states this in the description, is to empower and mobilize the Black and Brown community. And I don't also want to deviate from that mission if I am perhaps focusing too much on something that really, when all is said and done, is it, uplifting? Is it propelling our communities forward? Like, it also has me asking myself those questions. So, yeah, so it's very difficult. It's like, okay, do I want to clean out? And I've mentioned I want to more or less refine or polish my YouTube channel. I want to perhaps start cleaning it out a bit, but all of that requires work and time. So I am trying to figure out what is best for me right now. I will be putting out content more than likely, because I've enjoyed my time here, but it's just, at the same time, if at any point you see me stop or you see me pause, never for a moment think that I've walked away from my stance, right? Never, ever do so, never lose hope. I feel like hopefully with this channel, you can be inspired to go ahead and do the same and share your story, share your experiences, make those known. Because I feel like when we start making those experiences known, of, oh, this has happened. Oh, I've experienced something similar, or I've gone through similar journeys, gone through similar experiences. People can realize the reality of this world, of the world that we live in, and start to acknowledge how there is difference in treatment and how we should not be accepting and we should not be complacent on that. We should instead move towards creating change and making a difference. So silence never changed anything. Silence, if anything, just kept people oppressed, kept people in the same position. But I find that many individuals have yet to wake up and have yet to see the reality of it. And I find that it's very easy for people to be oblivious. It's very easy for people to live in their own, fairy tale, because unfortunately many times the world is not it's not that. It really isn't that. And it's easier to be in a place where you don't have to deal with those situations, because a lot of times that really, or if not all of the time, it will tug at your heart if you have that compassion, that empathy, right? So I feel like people don't want to put themselves in that position to make themselves uncomfortable, perhaps rattle something that part of humanity, or the humanity that they once upon a time had, that compassion they once upon a time had, perhaps lost in their journey through life. So, I think when people approach the world and life as if nothing's happening, it's an attempt to protect themselves from the unfortunate, from the things that exist. But I feel like when you can live knowing what exists and knowing that you hope that you can make this place, this world better and leave it in a better place, I feel that creates change, and change for the better, and change hopefully for the future, for those that are to come. So that's what I wanted to say. I know this message was pretty long and yeah, I feel like I used to cry a lot more in my earlier videos, but yeah, I became a bit more stronger, but I also I don't feel like I lose myself in the process. I feel like I always circle back to who I am, and at the end of the day, my heart is for humanity and for all of what exists as well, because I don't feel like it's only about humans. It's also about the greater world. When we have compassion, we have empathy for everything that exists. I do believe that we have more mindfulness on our behalf and on our end, and we can care for everything beyond even those that are around us and that are beings, right? Human beings. We can care now for animals, and we can care now for nature, and it goes beyond those that may look like you, be in appearance, in terms of have similarities to you. It extends and it's a greater love and compassion. So yeah, take care, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope you guys were able to follow along with what the gist of my message was. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Take care. Bye.